The Council's mistaketh Galactic Council met once every 100 years. Its halls floated high above the twin suns of Viron 6. A world bathed in golden light and endless peace. Today, 36 members stood around a wide glowing table. Their faces were calm, cold, powerful. They ruled over more than 4,000 planets. Entire species bowed to them. Their words shaped galaxies. And today, they made a decision that would change everything. The topic was Earth, primitive, silent, uninvolved in Council affairs for almost 900 years, said High Chancellor Vorn of the Alaris race. His voice echoed like stone cracking ice. They refused to contribute fleets, tech, or tribute. Said another member, this one a serpent-like being with glowing red eyes. They are inconvenient. Vorn added, a young delegate from the Arden cluster raised his voice carefully, but Earth was a founding member of the first expansion treaty. They helped build the early galactic systems. Should we not? They left, Vorn interrupted. They chose isolation, and now they must face the consequence. The vote was fast, unanimous. Earth's planetary status would be stripped, its rights removed, all defense treaties cancelled. Trade routes revoked, it would be placed under observation. Then slowly absorbed. Earth is nothing now, Vorn said, smiling. Everyone nodded. No one disagreed. But far, far away, on the very world they just condemned, something old heard them, and it woke up. Deep below Earth's surface, past the crust, deeper than minds had ever gone. Ancient machines stirred, buried in rock, hidden under tectonic plates. Was something the Council had forgotten, a system, a warning system. It lit up one light. Fleet Protocol Alfred Earth engaged. General Elena Riker, head of Earth Defense Command, stood alone in a cold observation room inside a mountain base in Iceland. It was a quiet place, built for emergencies, used only when the world was about to change. Today, it did. She stared at a glowing screen, red dots. Old signal beacons, things that hadn't blinked in centuries. Now, they were blinking, all of them. She whispered. A younger officer rushed in. Ma'am, you need to see this. He handed her a tablet. On it was a transmission, one that had just been intercepted from the Galactic Council. It was simple, a statement. Earth is no longer protected. It is no longer part of the galactic structure. No one will respond if they cry for help. Riker read it twice. Then she said, quietly, they finally did it, in a forgotten cave system in South America. Thick vines hung from the ceiling, moss grew on ancient steel. Birds flew over what looked like rocks, but were not rocks. One of the rocks beeped, then it rose. A massive structure pushed upward through the forest floor, shaking the trees. It was made of metal, but shaped like a ship, long, deadly, silent. On its side were words almost erased by time. A.T.L.A.S. Fleet Unit 07, Judgment. And it was not alone. All around Earth, in hidden places, frozen oceans, hollow mountains, artificial lakes, giant shapes began to move, ship after ship. 10 in total. Each forgotten, each silent for centuries, but now, they were remembering. Back in orbit, a single Council scout ship moved past Earth's moon. A small vessel, unarmed, watching. The captain, a tall insectoid creature named Jushkar, laughed as he watched Earth's defense grid flicker online, still using primitive beam arrays. How? Sad. Then his sensors picked up something strange. Movement, underground, planet-wide. He leaned forward. What is this? Suddenly, the signal channel snapped open. A voice came through. This is Earth. You made a mistake. Then the ship was hit, not by missiles. Not by lasers, but by a data pulse so powerful it shut down every system in Jushkar's ship. The screen went dark. General Riker stood inside Earth Command's central chamber. Send the recall signal, she ordered. But Mom, said her second-in-command, those ships haven't flown in 900 years. They were built for this moment, she said, for when the galaxy forgot who we were. She paused. And now, it remembers. Underneath the Atlantic Ocean, a massive gate opened. Water rushed outward in a spiral. A glowing red ship emerged slowly, lights flickering to life across its body, inside its core. A voice spoke in a soft tone. Commander not detected, awaiting purpose, Earth Command answered. You were built to stop extinction, understood. It rose. In the sky, clouds began to swirl. Storms formed where the ships emerged. Each vessel as long as a city block, covered in metal older than most civilizations. Designed by minds no longer alive, but remembered by machines that never forgot. And as the Galactic Council sat comfortably above Viron 6, proud of their vote, their screens lit up with a message from Earth to Council Command. Subject, correction. Message, you have made a mistake. They thought Earth was silent. They thought Earth was weak, but now, Earth was awake. And the stars would never be the same. Asterisk, the signals in the stone ground trembled, faintly at first, like the distant rumble of a storm, but the tremors grew stronger, reverberating across the Earth. Beneath the surface, something ancient began to stir. Far below the surface of the oceans, Deep under the ice of Antarctica, a forgotten door cracked open, metal creaked and groaned. While years of dust, rust, and neglect fell away, an enormous ship, its hull dark, its surface covered in the markings of war, began to rise. Breaking through the layers of rock and ice, it was no ordinary ship. The Atlas fleet had once been Earth's mightiest weapon, a fleet of supercarriers built to protect the planet from threats beyond the stars. But long ago, after the last galactic war, they were abandoned, buried, and forgotten. Now, as Earth faced a new and terrifying enemy, the forgotten fleet began to awaken. One ship at a time. In the quiet and desolate mountains of Africa, another vessel known as Judgment emerged from an underground hangar buried deep in the Earth's crust. Its engines hummed to life. Powered by ancient energy sources no longer understood, it too was ancient, its design predating most modern ships, yet it looked as menacing as ever. The ship was alive, Judgment ready, awaiting command. Came the voice, calm and efficient, but colder than any machine voice had the right to be. It was an AI, an ancient program designed to operate these colossal machines. But even the AI's memory banks seemed to tremble, like it too had forgotten its purpose. Back in Earth's command center, General Elena Riker stared at the data streams flooding the system. "We've just received transmissions from all Atlas fleet ships," one of her officers reported, their voice trembling. "Each ship is coming online, one by one. The signals are coming from underground bunkers, hidden sites." Elena closed her eyes for a moment. Processing the data, "Prepare for launch," she ordered. "Activate all defense protocols. But hold the line, don't engage until I give the order." "What if we're wrong, General?" her second-in-command, Captain Hawkins, asked cautiously. "What if we've awoken something we can't control?" "Then we'll die trying," she replied, her voice firm. "These ships were built for survival. The galaxy thinks Earth is weak. They'll learn how wrong they are up in space." A galactic scout ship, no larger than a small moon, loomed over Earth, its sleek, armored hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Jeshkar and his crew had been tracking the signals from Earth. They had no idea what was coming, but their mission was clear: observe, report, and destroy any threat. But now, with each passing moment, the threat was becoming undeniable. The communications officer's voice cracked through the tension of the command deck. "Captain, we've detected an unknown energy signature from Earth. It's spreading." Jeshkar narrowed his eyes. "What kind of signature?" "Something old and dangerous," the officer replied. "It's growing in intensity. Move closer," Jeshkar ordered, his voice cold. "Let's see what Earth's hiding." As the galactic scout ship moved closer, another ship from the Atlas fleet broke the surface. This one was different, larger, more aggressive. It was the Titan's Wake, the flagship of the fleet. Designed to lead and protect, the Titan ship roared to life. Its thrusters igniting with a power unmatched by anything the Council had ever seen. It hovered over a massive, crumbling structure on Earth's surface. And for the first time in centuries, the old warship was fully operational, the ship's AI activated. Its voice resonating through the cold metal. "Titan's Wake online. Command, General Elena Riker." The voice was familiar but chilling. The ship was alive, not just with machines, but with memory, a memory that stretched back to Earth's greatest wars. "Commander Riker, you are needed." The voice's tone carried a quiet command, but one that suggested the ship had a mind of its own. Earth's command center buzzed with activity as the fleet's ships began to form a line across the planet's sky. The ground shook beneath Riker's feet as the last supercarrier of the Atlas fleet rose into view. It was too big to ignore, too powerful to let go, and soon the world would know exactly what humanity had hidden for centuries. On the outskirts of space, the Galactic Council received a transmission, a loud, unsettling message from Earth's waking fleet. They couldn't decode it, but one word was clear: retribution. The Council's head, a tall being of pale blue skin, looked around at the gathered members. "What does that mean?" someone asked. "Have they activated their ancient warships?" "Impossible," Vorn of the Alaris race muttered, his voice shaking for the first time in centuries. "The fleet was destroyed. No fleet this advanced could possibly be. They were hiding them." A voice cut through. "The humans have always been prepared." Back on Earth, General Riker had a feeling in her gut. The enemy was watching, and now the game had changed. "What are they planning?" she muttered. "We need to move faster than they ever expect." The first wave of galactic invaders began to land, massive ships larger than anything Earth had ever seen, thousands of them, massive, untouchable. The alien force moved with precision, but Earth's ancient fleet, was already in motion. The first signal came through, a low rumble. Barely audible at first, then louder, faster. The Atlas ships moved together, and in the midst of it all, the Titan's Wake broke through, firing massive beams of energy that cut through the sky like blades of light. Astor's gay fleet forged in silence. Titan's wake soared through Earth's atmosphere, a shadow of ancient power. Below, the ground cracked and thundered as the fleet moved into position. For centuries, it had been buried beneath layers of Earth's history, forgotten by all but the few who still remembered its existence. Now, Earth's forgotten warriors had returned, awakened by a galaxy too arrogant to acknowledge the threat humanity had hidden. The Atlas fleet was no longer a myth. It was reality. In the command room aboard the Titan's wake, General Elena Riker stood before a massive holographic map. The fleet was in position, ready to strike. Their targets, the Galactic Council's scout ships. The enemy thought Earth had no defenses. Now, they would learn how wrong they were. High above Earth, in the Galactic Council's flagship, Chancellor Vorn stood motionless as the first signs of an attack rippled through the screens. "What is happening?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. "The fleet, they're moving." The council members stared at the screens in shock. The human warships had reactivated, their movements swift, synchronized. The Atlas fleet, a fleet thought destroyed in ancient wars, was now descending on their ships with the fury of a civilization that had been pushed too far. "They're awakening," a voice whispered. Vorn turned sharply, his eyes narrowing. "This is impossible. We wiped them out. We made sure they would never return on Earth." The fleet's AI cores came to life, and their voices filled the command room. Titan's wake online. Command acknowledged, awaiting orders. Judgment online, all systems functional, awaiting command. Rebirth protocol complete. The fleet is ready for deployment. General Riker exhaled slowly. The voices were familiar, yet distant. The ships had been silent for so long, but now they were eager, hungry for battle. "Set course," Riker ordered. "Target the closest galactic ships. We show them no mercy." Above the clouds, the Atlas fleet broke the stratosphere, their massive hulls casting shadows over entire continents. Each ship was a masterpiece of ancient human engineering, brimming with weaponry and firepower designed for survival, not domination. The first galactic ship came into range, a massive dreadnought brimming with energy cannons. It opened fire, but its lasers were deflected by the Titan's shields as if they were mere raindrops against stone. The Titan's wake retaliated. A beam of blue energy fired from its core, slicing through the dreadnought's shields and striking its hull with such force that the ship split in two. The shockwave rippled across space, sending smaller enemy ships tumbling into each other. In the Galactic Council's command room, chaos erupted. Officers scrambled to understand what was happening. "We can't let them advance," Vorn shouted. "Engage the fleet. Order everything. We have to attack." The enemy ships began firing in rapid succession, but their shots seemed useless against the Titan's advanced defenses. Every attempt to harm Earth's fleet was met with a counterstrike. One by one, the galactic ships fell. Their attacks were feeble against the overwhelming power of a fleet that had never truly been defeated, only buried. "Prepare the second wave," Vorn ordered, his voice growing desperate. "Activate the Black Star cannons. We'll wipe them out before they can reach the core." But General Riker had already anticipated their moves. "We've analyzed their tactics," she said calmly, her voice unwavering. "Activate the Judgment. Prepare to disable their flagship's weapon systems. We hit them where it hurts." The Judgment responded immediately, its engines igniting with ancient fury. The ship surged forward, dodging enemy fire, moving with precision and speed that defied logic. It reached the enemy flagship, and in one swift motion, it deployed an electromagnetic pulse, disrupting all of the galactic ship's weapons systems. For the first time in the battle, the galactic fleet faltered on the galactic flagship. Alarms screamed as their weaponry powered down. "What happened?" Vorn demanded, his voice trembling. "Why are we being disabled?" A technician frantically tapped the console, but there was no response. "Their ships are too powerful. The Judgment disabled our main weapon systems. We're completely vulnerable." Vorn slammed his fist against the table. "Send in reinforcements. We cannot lose to humanity." As the battle raged on, General Riker watched from the command center of Titan's wake. "They'll send reinforcements, but it won't be enough," she muttered, her eyes focused on the battlefield. "Their arrogance has blinded them." The core of Titan's wake spoke again. "Titan's wake is ready for the final strike. Target locked on galactic flagship, awaiting orders." Riker's hand hovered over the control panel. She could feel the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about defeating an enemy. This was about showing the galaxy that humanity had never been weak. The galaxy had never been able to crush Earth's spirit, and now they would see why. "Fire," she said quietly. From the Titan's wake, a beam of pure energy ripped through space. The galactic flagship, already crippled, was torn apart in a single, devastating strike. One by one, the remaining enemy ships fell. Unable to match the overwhelming force of Earth's forgotten warriors, the battle was over, but General Riker knew This victory was only the beginning. The Atlas fleet had not just awakened. It had declared a new era. The galaxy had ignored Earth for far too long, and now, Earth was sending its message loud and clear: humanity will never be forgotten. Earth rises from below. Battle was over. The Atlas fleet had done what no one expected. They had reclaimed Earth's place in the galaxy with one swift strike. The Galactic Council ships lay in ruins, scattered like broken toys across the void. General Riker stood in the command center of Titan's wake, staring at the view screen, watching the wreckage of the enemy fleet drift away. The calm after the storm was eerie. It was a moment of silence no one could truly appreciate. Because they all knew one thing: the war wasn't finished. Not yet, General, said Lyra, her voice breaking through Riker's thoughts. The Council, they won't let this go. The fleet's destruction, it's just the beginning. Riker turned to face her. I know, they'll come back with everything they have. A voice crackled through the comms, the AI of Titan's wake, as if it had been waiting for this moment. General Riker, Earth's defenses are fully operational. All Atlas fleet ships are reporting readiness. The image of the Earth's surface appeared on the screen. Cities still smoldered from the galactic bombardment, but now there were signs of life. Humanity wasn't defeated. Humanity wasn't even close to giving up. The people of Earth were rebuilding. But the question loomed over them: would Earth be allowed to stay? Riker's gaze hardened. They came for our destruction, but now we rise, far above. In the heart of the Galactic Council's flagship, panic had set in. The Council members convened in a dark room, their faces drawn tight with fear. Vorn, the Council's leader, stood silent. He had never imagined this would happen. The human fleet, the Atlas fleet, was supposed to be a myth. The Council had buried it, forgotten it, and now it had returned with vengeance. We need reinforcements, Vorn growled, turning to the others. Send everything we have. If we let Earth rebuild, we risk everything we've worked for. Our reign ends now. One of the members, an older creature with silver scales, looked toward the rest. But their ships, their weapons, we've never seen anything like them. The Titan's wake obliterated our flagship. Their power is unimaginable, another said. We underestimated them. Back on Earth, Riker's attention shifted from the screen to a new communication that had just arrived. General Riker, Earth Command is under siege. It was from her old friend, Admiral Holt. The transmission was short, direct, and filled with urgency. Earth's defenses were being tested once more. We knew this would happen. Riker muttered to herself, they won't stop until they control everything. But Earth was ready to fight back. At the edge of Earth's atmosphere, Leviathan, the largest of the Atlas ships, began to move. It had been silent, dormant for centuries, until it finally activated. Its engines rumbling to life once again. Now it lifted from the clouds, a dark figure against the sky. Riker and her crew watched as it ascended into space, its shape eclipsing the stars. Lyra turned to Riker. Leviathan wasn't just a ship. It's a statement. We're not going back to hiding. Earth is rising. Riker gave a nod. We are not weak anymore. We never were. High above the Council, deep in the heart of enemy space, reinforcements were already on their way. A fleet of massive ships, faster than anything Earth had ever seen. The Council had come for one thing only: control, but they underestimated one truth: humanity had never been about control. It was about survival. The reinforcements arrived in a mass of dark shapes, 1,000 ships, all much larger than the previous fleet, prepared to descend upon Earth. They moved with military precision, circling the planet like vultures, but Earth's response was swift. Leviathan engaged as it soared toward the incoming fleet. The massive ship sent a message across the galaxy: Earth does not yield. As the enemy fleet surrounded Earth, the first wave of attack began. Massive beams of energy rained down on Earth's surface. The explosions were devastating. But the Atlas fleet didn't wait for the damage to stop. With a roar of engines and weapons, the fleet responded. Titan's wake fired first, its massive cannons turning the sky into a canvas of destruction. One by one, the incoming ships fell. The battle was a symphony of destruction, each explosion shaking the heavens. The enemy fleet began to crumble under the relentless firepower of Earth's ancient warriors. But it wasn't enough. The true threat had yet to appear. Then, from the darkness of space, the galactic superdreadnought emerged. It was unlike anything seen before. Twice as large as Leviathan, its engines burned with a blinding white light. Its weapons were so powerful, they could pierce planets. This is it, Riker whispered. This is the last fight. The galactic superdreadnought launched its first salvo. It hit Earth's shields with the force of 1,000 storms. Leviathan shuddered under the impact. The air inside the command center seemed to freeze for a moment, but Riker didn't hesitate. Give them everything we have, she ordered. The engines of Leviathan roared as it powered up. Its weapons came online, sending a beam of energy so Powerful, it split the super dreadnought's shields in half. The two massive ships collided in the void, their weapons trading fire in an explosive dance. Space shook with each impact. In the midst of the chaos, General Riker sat, eyes locked on the screen. The future of Earth was uncertain. But one thing was clear, Earth would fight. *1 Final command. Galactic Super Dreadnought hovered above Earth like a dark omen, its sheer size and power casting a long shadow across the battlefield. Its weapons were unlike anything Earth had ever faced, but the Atlas fleet had no intention of backing down. Every ship that rose from Earth's surface knew what was at stake. General Elena Riker stood at the command center of Leviathan, watching the star-filled sky split with each exchange of energy. The Galactic Super Dreadnought's weapons fired again, sending a devastating wave of force toward Leviathan. The impact rocked the ship, sending shockwaves through the crew. The hull groaned as its shields flickered. Report. Riker snapped, gripping the edge of the console. Shields at 40%, the systems officer replied. We can't take many more of these hits. But Riker's eyes were focused on the main screen. She had seen destruction like this before. She had fought battles that seemed unwinnable, and yet here she was, commanding the last stand of humanity, Earth's last hope. She turned to her crew, her voice calm but determined. We're not done yet. In space, the battle raged on. The Titan's wake, Judgment, and the rest of the Atlas fleet were in constant motion, firing relentlessly at the Galactic fleet. Earth's ancient weapons systems were more advanced than any of the invaders had imagined. The power of each shot sent ripples through the galaxy. Ships exploded in flashes of light, but the Super Dreadnought remained impervious. It was time for the final move. On Earth's surface, the civilians had begun to evacuate into the underground bunkers. There was no time for fear. The enemy was at the gates, and the leaders of Earth had made a decision. They could no longer rely on the surface alone. Prepare Project Exodus, General Riker said into her COMMS. It was a hidden program, a last resort. Project Exodus initiated. All systems go. Back in space, the Titan's wake surged forward. Riker knew what had to be done. She gripped the console tighter as the ship's AI responded. Commander Riker, we are ready to execute the final sequence. Riker nodded, her jaw set. Do it? The ship's thrusters ignited, propelling it straight toward the Super Dreadnought. It was a desperate move, one that could take them both down, but it was humanity's last chance. Leviathan powered up. The Judgment followed, the Titan's wake cut through space, heading directly for the Galactic flagship. While Earth's final line of defense prepared for one final blow, the Super Dreadnought fired its full energy blast. The entire battlefield lit up with an intense flash of light. The shockwave rattled every ship in the fleet, but this time, Leviathan and Titan's wake didn't flinch. They powered through the blast, shields crackling with energy, and fired back. For a moment, it seemed like the two forces were locked in a battle for eternity, the galaxy's greatest weapon against Earth's oldest. But then, Titan's wake reached the Super Dreadnought, and something unimaginable happened. At the final moment, the Judgment's core detonated, releasing an energy shockwave of unimaginable proportions. The blast consumed everything in its path. Ships from both sides were ripped apart, torn into stardust by the explosion. The Super Dreadnought buckled. It had never faced anything like this before. Not in its 1,000 years of dominance. The ship twisted, groaning, as it split in two. General Riker and her crew watched the explosion from the bridge of Leviathan. The remnants of the Super Dreadnought were floating in space, a testament to Earth's refusal to surrender. They had broken the Galactic Empire's hold, not with numbers but with the will to survive. Earth had won, but as the dust settled, Riker knew this was only one battle, the Galactic Council. Their forces in disarray would not stay quiet forever. They had lost this war, but humanity had to prepare for what came next, General Lyra said. Looking at the readouts, we've done it. Earth is safe. Riker nodded, but her eyes were focused on the stars. We've won this battle, but the war isn't over. Back on Earth, people rose from the bunkers, blinking in the bright sunlight. They could see the skies again, and for the first time in a long while, they felt the weight of freedom. It was a fragile freedom, but it was theirs. As Riker looked down at the planet she had fought to protect, she knew one thing for sure. Humanity would never be forgotten again.